Heart rate training can be hard, and it's not hard physically, it's hard mentally. And today I thought I would talk to you about the reasons why I think people struggle with this method. And look guys, if you like these videos, please think about subscribing, hitting the bell if you haven't. If you're new subscriber here, welcome. This is my channel and this is me. I'm at a baseball diamond right now, and it brought back some memories as to what it was like growing up trying to get better at a sport that I wasn't very good at. And I had to come out to the baseball diamond continuously every week after school. I had to throw the ball, I had to bat, I had to run, I had to figure all this stuff out. And I wasn't good at the beginning. It took a while. Why am I talking about a baseball diamond, me growing up as a kid and playing baseball? What's the purpose of it? Well, the purpose of it is the following. I have always had a hard time just in life naturally being good at something. And it took a long time to figure out what that was. And I'm really good at real estate. I'm really good at talking to people, advising, teaching, educating. I'm very good at those sorts of things. But again, it took me many years to kind of go through that process. We all work really hard in our life, in our sport, in our whatever it is that we're doing. And it takes dedication. It takes patience, time, right? Time. It takes a lot of things to be good at something, right? And if you do something long enough, you will eventually get good at it. So let me come back to math training now. The reason I think people struggle in their training and they're not seeing results is there's like 4 or 5 critical points to this conversation. And one of them is consistency, right? People are not consistent in their running at a low heart rate to see the gains, right? They're just not. They're not willing to put in the effort. They're not willing to put everything else aside and just dedicate 5 months, 6 months, just training your aerobic engine. Like, they just won't do it. And they will come up with all kinds of reasons why. They will say, oh, I need to do speed work, or I can't run that slow all the time. Oh, it's boring. Oh, all these things. And that was all what I was thinking. I was thinking exactly the same thing, right? It was boring. I didn't want to do it. However, if you're gonna get good at something, this is the recipe that you have to do to get good at something. So let's talk about number 2, right? The reason why people struggle is they don't have the time. They really just don't have the time to commit. And I get it, right? We all have busy lives. We all work extremely hard. We're just trying to make ends meet, right? Like, you've got family commitments, you've got work commitments, you're in a high stress job. Like, there's all kinds of these things going on in your life. You may be a single mom, a single dad, you may be, recovering from illness. All of these things, right, contribute, right? And if you just don't have the time to put in, yeah, you may not see the results that you want. Number 3, you're not running enough. Malcolm Gladwell, in his book Outliers talks about the 1,000 hour, or sorry, the 10,000 hours to become an expert. And I mean, I don't necessarily know if that is true in all cases. I think you can get extremely good, and I don't think anyone is an expert. And I don't care how much education you have. I think we're always learning new things. There's very knowledgeable people that know a heck of a lot more than others. However, I don't think that we're all experts. The more that you do something, you're gonna get really good at it, right? If you're doing something really consistently, you're putting in the time, right? You're up there like maybe 8 hours a week running, maybe 10 hours a week running. That's awesome. However, if you're not running it correctly in the way that you should be running it, then you're getting really good at doing something that's really not very helpful in your running. Yes, running is great, but if you're running and you're continuously getting injured, well, that's not really something that you want to keep doing. Understanding the rules of the game. You want to play Monopoly, you need to know the rules. It's the same type of thing. If you're gonna, run, at this low heart rate, you need to know the rules for success, the recipe, right? You can't make a cake unless you have a recipe. Well, you can try, but it may not turn out very good, and then you probably won't want to continue. So, that being said, you got to know the rules, you got to know the recipe, you have to understand what it is you need to do. And reading the book, right, Phil Maffetone's book, The Big Yellow Book for Endurance Athletes, it's a fantastic book. Again, I don't take everything that he says. Like, I differ on the whole diet situation, right? Like, me being plant-powered, I look at things very differently because, I look at Dr. Greger and what he talks about. And again, I think they're all very knowledgeable people in their fields. However, I always think science is always changing. We're always evolving as a human being, right? It's like you buy a Model T car, and guess what? The Model T car has evolved into crazy amazing cars these days, right? We've got Aston Martins, we've got Lamborghinis, we've got Formula One cars, right? We've got Prius hatchbacks, right? We evolve as runners. We learn more and more and more, right? You need to understand the rules of engagement, okay? So we've got time, right? Time is very important. We've got consistency. Number 3, diet. Diet is going to play a major factor into how you fuel your runs. If you're eating junk food, guess what? You're not going to be able to outrun that diet. It's going to catch up to you, and you're not going to see the results that you want. If you're fully eating carbohydrates every single day, and a lot of them, but you're only running at a very low heart rate, yes, you're burning your fat, but you're also storing, right? You're also kind of storing a lot of that back into your cells, right? So I know when I used to run really fast, I used to come back and I was starving. Oh my gosh, I was so hungry all the time. But now that I've switched to this whole heart rate training and running in my aerobic zone, I'm not so hungry. After a run, I'm not hungry. I'm not depleted of my glycogen cells, or source, right? I'm not bonking. I'm not any of those things, right? Watch what you eat. Watch what you're putting into your body, right? If you're driving a Lamborghini, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna put in the unleaded, or are you gonna put in the super gas, right? Or super unleaded or premium or whatever it is. You will do what the manual tells you to do. You're gonna put in good quality and you will get good quality performance out. It's the same thing in our body that we do. We have to look after our body. Some other things that I've noticed. People who are in very, very, very hot climates, you're having a rough go, all of you. And that's just what it is, right? I mean, you can't really change the weather where you are. Maybe you have to get out and do night runs. Maybe you have to go out and do early morning runs just to beat the heat, because it gets really hot. That being said, the heat will take an effect on your body, right? When you are running, our body is trying to cool ourselves down so fast. And at the end of the day, we can only run so fast and keep our heart rate down when we're battling the elements, right? And I've proven that over the course of this summer. It was extremely hot. I had a lot of crappy runs because of the heat, and that's just the way it was. However, see, your fitness is just underneath, right? Like, you may not see it. You may think training very, very slowly and you're not seeing the progression that you want, right? However, take a look at what you're dealing with, right? If you're in an environment that's hot and humid every single day, guess what? That's what it's gonna be, and you will train in that environment and you will get the results in that environment. Okay, that's your body. Right now, if you take a trip when COVID ends and everything else, and we are allowed to travel, and you go to somewhere that's cooler, guess what? You will be able to run much faster at that same heart rate, right? You're running at a heart rate that is working on your aerobic system, right? And it doesn't matter if you don't think you're going fast, your body is training at that level. So what I've seen in the last year is I've seen improvements, and I may not see it day to day, and I may not see it month to month. However, when it cools down, you do see it, okay? Another reason why I think people struggle is you may be younger, right? You may be younger and math training may not work for you, right? The numbers just don't work. Or you may be older, like 65, and you may be like, this is crazy, I just have to walk all the time. So Dr. Phil Maffetone, he talked about adding an additional 10 beats on to your Maffetone, right? So I talked about that before. So you can go ahead and do that and see how that works out for you. And the other thing is if you don't want to do that, that's fine. Go out and run, but try sing the national anthem the whole time that you're out and measure your heart rate and see what happens, right? See where you're at, right? Do some tests to figure out what's going on, right? We're an experiment of one, right? So that's something that you can try to see how it works, right? So I'm gonna go out when I get my watch and I'm gonna go out for my perceived run, right? Without looking at my watch, and I'm going to see what the numbers come back with, to see if I am running in the right zone for me, that I think, right? So if I go out and I say, hey, perceived effort, this is what it is. I'm running, a 9:13 minute mile, but my heart rate is shooting through the roof. Well, guess what? That's not working, right? We're an experiment of one. We have to work our way through it, all right? The other thing is your stress level and sleep. Okay, I'm going to talk about both of those together because they are super important. If you're in a job that you are struggling with, if you've just been hired and you're trying to figure out this new job, or if you're an executive, or if you have your own business, or if you are always in a factory on your feet every day, if you're in a negative environment where people kind of belittle you, don't value you, you're in a relationship that you're struggling with financially, and you're being abused and you're, verbally or physically or whatever, all of those things are going to contribute to your stress level. And when your stress level is elevated, cortisol is flowing like crazy in your body, your heart rate is going to be much higher. You have to put everything aside and try to figure out how to deal with stuff like that. So you may have to be running slower. If you're not getting enough sleep, if you're like sleeping 4 hours a night, if you're up multiple times in the night, if you don't have a proper sleep schedule, right? If you're trying to keep yourself awake by drinking coffee every day, those are some signs, right? Don't blame the fact that, you're not progressing in your running. You got to take a look back to figure out what's going on in your life that's causing these problems to manifest into your running, and you're not improving. You got to look in the mirror and see what's going on. You may have medical issues, right? That don't allow you to train fast or train at all, right? I am not here to judge anybody. I'm just here to say, look, this is from what I've experienced. These are some things that can help you. And if Maffetone is not for you, then it's not for you. And that's perfectly fine, right? Nobody is you. No one tells you what to do when you're running. You do what you need to do for you to be successful. However, if you find yourself getting injured more times than not, if you're not as patient with the training, you got to start looking at other things. It's not necessarily the training that may be the problem. It was a hard look that I had to do in the mirror, and I did it. And I was like, you know what? All right, I got to own up to it. And I'm going to give this time, right? And do you always have to run this way? It's up to you. No one's telling you. However, when you look at all these Olympic athletes and how they train, right? I mean, I look at how the Kenyans, how they do it, and their easy runs are super easy. Like 80 to 85% of their runs are super chilled out, relaxed, slow runs. They've taken years to build up their aerobic engine, and when they go out for their runs, they're running chilled out. You know what I mean? Yes, they do have to do those high intensity, but it's only like 20 to 15% of the time, right? So they know what all their zones are. They know what their lactate threshold is, right? They know these things, right? But it's taken them years. So have patience with yourself, okay? Have patience with yourself. You will succeed. It may take more time, but you will get there. So with all of that said, guys, I'm gonna go off and go do my run. I've got a busy day ahead of me, and I wish you all the best. I hope this helps some people out there who are struggling, who don't know what to do. If you've got questions and concerns, just comment below and I'll see how I can help. In our online community here with the Plant Powered Runner channel, you know what? People are posting and commenting all the time. So if you got questions, post them in. If you've got a story to tell, post it down below. Love reading those comments. If you like these videos, please think about subscribing, hitting the bell if you haven't. If you're new subscriber here, welcome. This is my channel and this is me. So I wish you all the best, and we will talk later.
I really wanted to get it right.
Get out and run.
Trying to find some balance in my life, but I never really put up a fight. Didn't follow my dreams, and now I'm losing sleep. What if I lost touch? What if I'll never get it right? I try to follow my heart, but I lost it somehow. Wish that someone could say it'll all be okay. Just listen to me.
Happy trails, everybody. Happy trails.